Hello, ladies. Welcome back to the Starlight Sabrina channel. I'm Sabrina, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. Rather than jumping into life advice around how you build your life of starlight, in 2025, I am challenging myself to release all my unedited drafts. And so here's that first gospel. Um, a cry of help, a loss for words, and a deeply existential crisis that I've seen in a lot of my clients and a lot of my friends, and even in myself. When you've swam so far, how do you stop swimming? And how do you keep yourself afloat? Today's video will hopefully be raw, uncut, but always ridiculously clean as I try to. And today I want us to talk about all of the things related to burnout, to depression, and finding hope when the bigger picture feels lost. Because on our journey to discovering our starlight and self-actualizing, oof, subhanallah, there's so many bumps that we hit on the road. It's raining today in Amsterdam to begin. Funny enough, it's not actually raining, but for me and a lot of my clients, it's felt like it's been raining. Not a gentle spring rain, not a torrential downpour, just there, stretching across the sky, caught between two extremes, neither light or heavy, neither unbearable or comforting. And I realized that it's kind of just like me. In the mirror today, I watched my own hands clasp my kind of delicate golden bangles on my wrists, and I cried and I held them a bit longer. Two bangles, two lives, two contradictions, and I realized my reality is just that. Contradiction. I'm neither here nor there at times, neither failing nor succeeding, neither alive nor dead, just in the in-between. And it makes me think of all the other in-betweens, the ache of being exhausted but not allowed to rest, of losing everything but still being expected to show up, of knowing you need help but no idea where to find it because you really don't know what the problem is. And so what I want to do today is walk between that in between, talk about the in between, the cold, relentless chokehold of burnout, fear, and an exhaustion that is telling you that your dream life is not attainable at all. And I want to begin by how we got here, and what the burnout and depression loops are to begin. Whenever I try to explain burnout to someone who hasn't felt it, I think to um, the Prophet Yunus alayhi in the Quran, swallowed by the whale, trapped in its darkness for 3 days and 3 nights. When you're burnt out, right, you don't really know how long you've been inside the whale. You just know instinctively that you will get out, but you're still in the dark, you're still in the belly of the beast, and you just don't know. You're still Yunus alayhi salam, chasing dreams, fighting to be more than your circumstances, but when the waves get too high, when the whale's stomach gets too suffocating, when the exhaustion settles in, when you've spent your whole life running and running and running to survive, the ocean swallows you whole, and suddenly you're drowning. Not all at once, but really little by little. You can't think straight. You can't see past the dark undercurrents. You're clawing at the waves, desperate, desperate, desperate for release. And when you finally find pause, and when your mind finally screams for help, the world tells you to just be kind to yourself, to float with the waves. When your body feels the salt water swallowing you whole, feels the panic of not being able to find the ground beneath you. It's a body that's never known rest. So, how do you be kind to a body that's never known rest? How do you be kind to a body that's never known rest? And how do you rest when there's no promise of escaping the ocean? To humanize this story a bit so you understand that you're not alone, I'd like to share little pieces of what I've been observing on this journey myself. I'm a first generation Moroccan American woman, ladies. I was raised to believe that stability was to survive, that success was safety, and that failure was a death sentence. I lived in the inner city of Boston, constantly feeling between a rock and a hard place where my circumstances were always the same, always told the same story. Softness had to be earned. Joy was a luxury, love was never given freely, and life never felt safe. It would never feel safe until you make it so. So I built and I pushed and I fought my way out of poverty and instability and insecurity, and I did it. I broke the barriers of the elite, the educated, the untouchable. I got the Fortune 500 job, the top business schools, the perfect resume and CV, and I lost everything because it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. When my cousin died at 25, Allah yarhamu, burnout swallowed me whole. The first ghost in the water, reminding me that death was always near. When I lost my ability to perform at my corporate day job, the shiny, flashy Fortune 500 job I'd been working desperately to get, burnout swallowed me whole again. The second ghost in the water, whispering to me that I was an imposter. When I walked away from the man I loved for the sake of my faith, so close to marriage, so close to the happily ever after that I was coveting, and yet so far, burnout swallowed me whole. The third ghost in the water, where his face still haunts every single one of my memories to this day. And when I looked around and realized I was alone in my burnout, it swallowed me again. It swallowed me whole. That fourth ghost in the water, reminding me that my friends, both my new and old friends, my family, they couldn't save me from this because how can people know how to pull you back to the shore if you don't know yourself? And let me tell you what they don't say about hitting rock bottom. You don't hit it once. You hit it again and again and again until one day you stop trying to climb out because you don't even know if there's a way out. And yet we keep going. Because what else can we do? What else can we do? And so I promised you all at the beginning of this video, how do you stop drowning? How do you become free? How to fix burnout, or at least try. And the truth is, I wish I could tell you I have the answers. I wish I could tell you that there's a neat little way out of this abyss, a five-step guide, a magic switch that a lot of content creators on YouTube share. I don't, though, ladies, and that's the reality. I am still in the belly of the whale with you all. I'm still crying, still clawing at the waves, still searching for a light that feels like it's out of reach all the time. So instead, what I want to offer is this: a clean-cut way that keeps me from being lost at sea entirely. And before I get out of this, and I get this off my chest, I want to emphasize fully that this is not forever. It's right now. So be kind to yourself, listen to yourself, because your intuition, your consciousness, your God consciousness, your consciousness of the situation is the seed that's planted to get you there. But now let's talk about it in a way that makes sense. Burnout, it makes you hate your own body because how could it do this to you, right? How could it lock you inside itself when your body and your mind are screaming for movement, for action, and for freedom? Because here's the thing that about burnout that nobody tells you, right? Your body will always know before your mind does. It'll know when the breakdown is coming. It will know that you've been pushing yourself. It knows when it's had enough, and it knows these things before you can even process it, even when you're telling yourself just a little more. And when it's had enough, it will shut itself down whether or not you like it. This week in particular, I've been spending the past few days really locked inside this war. My mind and heart were begging to move forward, to seek, forgiveness, to seek clarity, to seek stillness as a way to get out of this rut. But my body was saying no. And I hated it. I resented it. But after drowning my body under this weight, I realized that sometimes the only way is through. So if you're struggling, the first thing I will tell you is exercise and rest. And that's not what you want to hear, most likely. You want the quick fix, the five-step framework, the introspection where you're actually putting work behind addressing the actual thoughts. But the reality is, my love, you need to stop punishing yourself for resting. If your body refuses to move, meet it where it's at. If you move a bit, reward yourself. If you move a bit more, reward yourself again. You need to listen to your body and stop fighting yourself, my love. And I want you to use this as a baseline to build back up to a healthy balance of exercise and rest. Gamify it if you must, even when it doesn't feel fun. But the reality is to stop drowning. You first need to listen to your physical body as it's drowning. Are you gasping for air? Are you bobbing above water? Are your feet panicked? In my metaphor of drowning in the ocean, right, I want you to really and truly take the metaphor and look yourself in the mirror. What do I need physically? And start there. The second thing is to cook the damn thing you're craving with regards to diet and sustenance. Not because it's healthy or it's good for you, but because you deserve something warm and familiar, a lifeline that reminds you what it means to be human and alive. If you make something nourishing for yourself, reward yourself. If you make something healthy, reward yourself again. And if you can't cook, order in, drink tea, eat something that brings the smallest comfort. Burnout is a tidal wave of a huge reminder with regards to why you're not doing enough. It kind of jumps into you and slams into you, right? And it's okay. It's okay that it does that. But if your friend was caught in that tidal wave and couldn't get up, what would you do in her recovery? You wouldn't talk about where the wave came from and what happened with the wave and how you got smacked in the face like that. You would say, hey, let's get something to eat. Let's get something to drink. Let's rest. You need to treat your body with the same type of reverence because that's the only way to calm the mind down so we can begin to solve the problem together. So promise me that. If you make one move towards winning this war, towards rising back up to the surface, you make that move. If you make another, reward yourself, and another, reward yourself, and slowly but surely we'll get back to a place of normalcy and calm. Now, the second piece is I want you to see faith as an anchor, even when you're drowning. So if you're a Muslim, you might have heard of sujood or sajda, the part of our prayer where you press your forehead into the earth, where you whisper to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to God, everything that's ripping your heart to shreds. It's the only moment where you can really surrender with yourself. And even if you're not Muslim, you have these moments for sure. The screaming breakdowns of, I can't take it anymore, venting to a therapist, whatever it is, you have a physical surrender that's escaping you. And I'm going to be honest with you all. Surrender sucks. Pardon my language, but it really effing sucks. Because surrender means admitting you don't know how to get out of this. It means putting your forehead down to the ground and whispering, Ya Allah, I don't know how to keep going. Surrender means that trusting that there is something beyond this exhaustion when everything inside you screams that this is your reality. And surrender, my loves, is shit. It really is. There's no way to make it coquette and pretty and a starlit sanctuary. Surrender is admitting that you don't got this like you've told yourself you do. But the only way out is through, right? So I want you to try this. Regardless of your faith, I want you to cry. I want you to let it out fully, even if the words don't come, even if all you can do is weep, even if the tears don't fall. Give yourself permission to scream it out, to let it out, to release it. Then I want you to talk. And when you talk, I want you to close your eyes to visualize the gap between your life and the life you long for. And I want you to talk about it. And it might sound crazy, but I want you to talk out loud like I'm talking to you now. Walk it through with God. Walk through it with God or with yourself, but step by step. What does the life I want look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? Tell the story of the life you want and what it looks like once your feet are on the shore. And if you feel abandoned in this, my love, if you feel alone, I need you to know that you're not. And it's very hard to believe that, I know, but you're not. Verily, with hardship comes ease. Verily, with hardship comes ease. You are the exception to the rule. That is why you're going through this, because the way others are supposed to achieve their dreams is not the way you are. You are the exception to the rule. Because if it was not meant for you, you would not be thinking about it like this. To be truthful, to be true, I don't know when the ease will come, or if it even will. I'm building the life of my dreams alongside with you all currently, and today I really, really thought about it. Should I let up the fight? Should I let it go? I'm not doing things in XYZ way. The YouTube videos are not as beautifully edited. The outfits are not as popping as they should be. The clients are not as coming as they should. I was in it with you all. But I want you to know that beyond the productivity hacks around burnout and this level of depression and the endless sea of scientific research on this same burnout and depression, my love, your depression's real. Your emotions are real. You are real. And you do not need to justify it or re-logic it or guilt it and shame it to try to understand what it is. I want you to accept it in layman's terms. It is real and you are real. And I see you. Every day I see you, I hear you, and I pray that this pain passes through you and out of you. I'm holding your hand when I say this. Don't silence the guilt. Drown it out with something louder. They tell you to find your joy again, to do your things that make you happy, to chase your joy, to give yourself permission to rest. But I know how the guilt creeps in, right? It creeps in when you finally stop, when you let yourself breathe, when you do something unproductive for the first time in weeks and suddenly it's screaming at you. I've spent years trying to silence that voice, and I'm still silencing her, screaming at her to shut up, looking at her in the corner and thinking, I really do not want you here right now, just like my little plushie in the back. Um, I've spent years trying to shut her up until she suffocates me with the flood of my tears, right? But deep down, to win this fight you're fighting, my love, I really don't think it's about silencing it. I think it's about accepting it, befriending it, but drowning it out with something louder. The fear, the pain, the anxiety of ending up in this place again. It needs reassurance that's louder than those fears. Because right now, what's happening is your emotions are asking for attention all at once, for clarity, for the sun after the storm, because you are the steward of the vessel. You are the one steering the boat above the waters while the crew is drowning. So instead of feeding them and saying, yes, we're drowning, this is the last destination of the ship, this is all we can do, I want you to try to channel them into small, dreaded 1% actions that don't feel like any progress or any form of perfection. Try to drown it out before it gets louder. And this could be many things. It can manifest into many things, right? It could be playing a video game until the guilt has no room to speak. Watching a comfort show that reminds you that life can still be soft. Sitting in a cafe, ordering a latte, and people watching like you're the character in someone else's novel. It can be writing, it can be journaling, a semantics exercise where you punch the pillow. For me, it's creating this content, watching the metaphoric rain hit the cobblestones in Amsterdam outside, sitting outside in this warm summer air that feels like a cold winter chill, and just waiting for the clouds to break. Watching my tears flow, not of sadness, but just some silence. Find the smallest thing that makes life a bit more bearable, my love. Cling to it because right now it's all you have, and it's okay that it's all you have. And finally, what I want to share is climbing out of rock bottom does feel impossible, but so does staying in it, to be honest. Where the dark moon meets the dark seas, where this world meets the one below, where the weight of it all feels unbearable, my ghosts on the water still call my name and remind me that I've been here before, and most likely yours are too. Not in the same darkness, but in the same pain, and that's what makes everything feel heavier. You change, you evolve, you grow, you develop, but yet that same pain, that same ghostly pain from the past is still in the room. Um, Many years ago, the ghost of my younger self, desperate for a suicide's breath, for relief, walked to the edge of the Atlantic with this grief, strapped to my body like the weight of that whale. I let the waves pull me in. I filled my pockets with pebbles, with small broken things just like me, and I let myself sink. Once, twice, gasping, choking, screaming until something pulled me back to the surface, and I don't know what it was to this day. Maybe it was a wave, maybe it was divine mercy, maybe it was just the stubborn refusal of my lungs to stop breathing. But I do know this, decades later, years later, every time I walk by the ocean, it never stops calling my name. Not then and not now. And I won't lie to you, my love. I won't tell you it gets better or just to keep pushing because I think at times we just don't believe that. Because burnout is a lose-lose scenario. You're drowning, whether in exhaustion or in the ocean, because it feels like the same thing. But I do want to say this. You have survived 100% of your worst days. You wouldn't be watching this video if that was the case. And if you're watching this video, you're still alive. And if you're still alive, you are still here. And if you are still here, there's a way forward, even if you can't see it yet. Before I go, I want to leave you with one last piece of Quranic wisdom to close the Jum'ah and to close the video, inshallah ta'ala. In Surah Al-Duha, Allah says, by the morning brightness and by the night when it covers with darkness, your Lord has not abandoned you, nor does he hate you, and the hereafter will be much better for you than the present, and soon your Lord will give you much, so much that you will be pleased. I don't know when the ocean will release me the same way it will release you, my love, when the night will end and when where our feet will find the shore again. So just as he promises the morning will come, then we keep swimming until we see the dawn. That's all we can do. So let's take a howl at that moon together, okay? Even if it means wading through this dark water. You will not drown in this pain forever, my love. But what you need to do is you need to stop beating yourself up for the fact that you're in pain in the first place and for the fact that you're drowning. Give yourself remedial 1% little activities to get you through the next day. We call this the path of least resistance. Cook something light. Walk 1 minute, whatever it is, just these small residual things. And know that the dawn will come. And if you don't feel it, you can come back to this Quran verse and listen to it again and again until your heart is eased and is calm. I thank you for holding this space for me, this sacred space for me to talk to you about burnout as someone that is still in the thick of it. And with that being said, my love, you will not drown in this pain forever. I thank you for the space. I thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the content you've seen, the cliche goes to like, share, and subscribe. But also, if you are looking to do this deeper work on how to navigate the throes of burnout, my name is Sabrina Al-Wardi. I am a narrative coach and fantasy writer, meaning I take the principles of storytelling to help you walk alongside your grief and befriend it so that you may rise above the waves. In the meantime, my loves, I will see you in the next one. And for now, take care. Be kind to yourself. Don't fight yourself. And know that this is not forever.